Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Baer Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, just go ahead and lurk. That's okay as well. We got John here. We got Ghost Valve here. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here on the old stream here in the chat. It's a Monday. We're working on the Providence Gundam. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. And when I say we're working on the Providence Gundam, I mean we're in the home stretch. Like, we have more to do. Doodles is here. Hello, Doodles. We got more to do with this kit, right? But we're body complete on it. We have completed the body of this lovely kit. Now we're going to be working on the backpack. And then we're going to be working on the weapons and the shield, which is also a weapon. And then when that's done, we're done with this kit, and then we'll move on to the Zort, which is the next thing that I'll be building on stream. And then I got a Lego set to build after that. And then then we're done with the things bought from my wish list for now. And then I'll build other stuff that's come through. I'm excited for tonight. We're going to talk about a manga I've been reading. We're going to talk about anime that I watched. We're going to talk about I don't know, some video game stuff, some wrestling stuff, a few different things, and I would even go so far as to say also thangs. Some things and thangs that we'll be talking about tonight. Aristovan is here. Hello, Aristovan. Happy to have you here. Hopefully a few more friends will join us tonight. I don't know if they will. I hope they do. If they don't, that's also okay. Sometimes Mondays are very chill around here. I also... I'm posting to all of my social media now, and I don't know how good of a choice that is. So when I post out stuff, I do it to Twitter and Blue Sky and Mastodon. I promote my streams on Co-host, but I don't do I'm live on Co-host because Co-host feels like a site that is not like... There is a feed and it is in chronological order, but I don't think people use Co-host like they use other social media. Again, Co-host is a replacement for Tumblr and not a replacement for Twitter. I don't post on Threads because Threads does not operate in any way that would make any sense for me, right? Threads is for going viral, not convincing people to leave Threads to go to your other thing, right? Twitter's not really that anymore, but there's enough people that follow me and want to see things in chronological order that maybe they can see what I'm up to, right? And then when you jump over to like Blue Sky, the only thing I know that works at Blue Sky is that like people are being a little weird about social work there, and by social work I mean sex work, but you know what I mean. People were a little weirded out by the SWs. And then a lot of people are like, no, this is the only cool place, so fuck off if you're not cool. I don't care that you can't look at Blue Sky at work. This is my work. That kind of thing. So it's getting a little weird over there, but it's still a better place than other social media sites. Threads is blocked in the EU for privacy violations, which says it all. So it is, that is true. In so much as the fact that the actual thing is that the app isn't available in the EU because it can't get around privacy laws. So it's not that it's banned. It's that in order for Threads to exist in the EU as an app on iTunes, they would have to make changes to how they run. And they'd rather not run in the EU right now than make those changes. So it is what you said, Doodles, but it's not like the EU cracking down on Threads and blocking it. It's Meta deciding it's easier to not be there. Partially why they might not have a desktop version. But basically they're just like, oh, we don't even want to touch the EU right now while we're trying to figure out how to make this thing work. And then there'll be a version that works there. In a similar vein of why Co-host doesn't have an app. Because if Co-host has an app, they have to listen to the App Store in the United States and for Apple, and they don't want to do that. That's what happened with Tumblr. Tumblr had to clean up because children might go on the Tumblr app. So co-host solution is to not have an app. Also, there's like 4 employees there. You don't want Wendy's and Arby's to bet over how sus your next model kit will be? No. The only thing I want from brands is coupons for those brands. I don't want to engage with brands except for discounts. Give me some free shit or shut up. Lord Crashton said, hey, Pat, the best way to use threads is to be famous or lie about being famous. So it's either be famous or just post old, well-known memes from Twitter that people will take at face value. Coupon sweepstakes, maybe a new product. Super Raven asks, isn't it weird how they, Meta, keep branding as Instagram? So there are people who don't know that Facebook owns Instagram. Threads is Instagram. So for one, Threads is just Instagram because it's using infrastructure of Instagram. It is just Instagram. But Instagram isn't Facebook. And Facebook is for old people. And Instagram is for slightly less old people that don't want to use TikTok. So Instagram doesn't have the baggage of Meta, even though it's owned by Zuckerberg. And they don't want Threads to be the Facebook/Meta making a new app. They want it to be Instagram making a different app that's also as cool as Instagram. Sometimes you take the brand that has the better, when you merge, you don't take the bigger brand or the older brand or the more established brand. Sometimes you take the brand that has the least amount of baggage, like Crunchyroll instead of Funimation. Now, for some olds like myself, let's go to the overhead while I'm talking here. We see our kit here, and then we're working on the backpack here. Now, for olds like me, Funimation has history. Like Crunchyroll are the torrent people that made good, whereas Funimation was the company that brought DVDs and VHS tapes to America of anime that had questionable dubs in some instances, but like got it and survived and thrived. But for the international market, Crunchyroll means anime. And Funimation are the people that with the bad dubs in your language, even though some Crunchyroll dubs are also not great. But that was the thing, right? So people that spent a lot of money, Sony spent a lot of money on people to tell them which one they should go with. And I'm sure there were people that were pushing for a third new name. Could have been like Crunchymation or Funny Roll. Yes, it could have been something terrible like that. Funny Roll would have been awesome, but it wasn't going to be that. I don't make important decisions like that because I would say you should call it Funny Roll. But people made those decisions of like, what are we going to go with here? And in the same way, Meta spent an ungodly amount of money, like a ridiculously unbelievable amount of money. Once on Threads, the name Threads, they spent a lot of money to come up with that. And then they spent a lot of money going, should it be like a Facebook offshoot or an Instagram offshoot? And they settled on, it's an Instagram offshoot. Because more people like Instagram than Facebook. Pretty sure UHD copy of Akira is out on Funimation. Yes. I mean, Funimation was the shit. Like, that was your answer. Because all the other companies were going belly up or closing their divisions. But if you wanted stuff, Funimation was still your source. And then when you made y'all know, you made the choice. You made the call. You, not you, the person. You, collective, made the call. Are you a Crunchyroll or a Funimation person? Or you bought both because you got both because you wanted to watch anime. And you can't watch all the anime in one place. Even now, I have to justify to myself, this $6 a month I'm paying HiDi for 2 shows. Is that too much? No, it's not too much. It definitely is not too much. I'm seeing plenty. I'm getting plenty of good stuff from those shows, and both of them right now are pretty solid that I'm watching. And I'll find some other stuff. And there's also, like I said, I think on Saturday stream, sometimes you just want to watch Non Biori, and you need your Funimation subscription to do that because you don't own physical media. I own almost no physical media. I own zero physical media in the state of South Carolina, where I currently reside. I have some old physical media in a box, in a storage unit in New York City. It's very little. It's some CDs that you can't find anymore, a couple that are signed, which is lovely, by the artists, of course. And I have a few DVDs, and I have a couple Blu-ray. And that's it. I don't keep physical media. And then I have books. I have more books than I have digital, on disc media. I still got some of them. I still keep some of them books out there for, when you need a book. Sometimes you want to read some shit. Not all the time for me, but sometimes you want to read some stuff, and you need books for that. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that, but if you want to read, you probably need to read a book. Of course, you can read it digitally, but you get what I'm saying. Get right? Shocking. Also, if you were here before the stream kicked off when I was just playing music, you may have noticed that music was instrumentals and not the weird nonsense, totally okay for me to play music that I've been playing previously. Because guess what? Some of the music that I have been playing trips the fear in the VODs here on Twitch. So like a previous VOD of mine is muted because of the music it was playing before the stream started. And you're saying, well, Pat, you got to be careful about that music. You got to really figure out what music you're playing so you don't have that happen. And to which I reply, that music that I was playing on Saturday Thursday was the stream that got muted. The music that I played before Thursday's stream kicked off was music from a service called Twitch Soundtrack. That's right. Ahead of them shutting down the Twitch Soundtrack service, which is coming in a couple days here in the month of July, they let some of their agreements lapse ahead of it. Meaning that songs that you need to... So there's a couple different things. When it comes to music that you can just play without there being a problem, right? Some of those songs you can just play and it's no big deal. Some songs you can't just play. And it is a very, very big deal if you don't want that. Some songs you need to credit, right? You need to have in your documentation that you like who made it and a link to like their Bandcamp or whatever. And then also on some services like YouTube, people put songs in their videos and then they license their videos to a service, and then that includes the song that was used. And they try to take ownership on the video, which includes the song, and so then they try to take credit for the song, which happens mostly on YouTube and occasionally happens on Twitch. As Jatsu says, hi Jatsu. My favorite thing that happens is when a VOD of mine gets muted because somebody sampled a Creative Commons song and claimed it as their own. Yes, that also happens. People sample songs and then say like, oh, well, this segment is mine because I used it. I'm using the material. And you're like, no. So Twitch. Twitch was very good for a very long time about, hey, if it's on Twitch Soundtrack, you're good. There's not going to be any muted. There's not going to be any issues, right? We're not going to send you a takedown notice. We're not going to mute anything. If you are playing a song in here from Twitch Soundtrack, you're good. Well, they're getting rid of Twitch Soundtrack. And all of their alternatives are some places where you can download music and other places where you just get a Spotify playlist that you can use. So we'll see if any of the songs that I played today trip up the VODs. Hopefully they won't, but there's a possibility that they might. But I'm really hopeful they don't, because I I don't really want to use a Spotify playlist. Anyway, I've got a playlist now that I'm trying out, and we'll see if that works. I hope it does. I'll be trying a few different playlists from this service that has songs that I can use. Also, I don't want to spend money, right? Because that's the really easy thing for me to do. The simplest way to do it would be to pay for a group that keeps up to date with all their music and keeps things going, and then I could build my own playlist of music from them. I could download stuff. You do run the risk when you download that rights may change and things may because they're almost never continuous contracts. They often are contracts that are only run for a certain amount of time, and then you have to figure that shit out. Oh, so we want to do this. Sorry. I don't know. My hope is that this will work out. I'm annoyed that Twitch Soundtrack is going away because that was supposed to. They set up Twitch Soundtrack like this was the solution to the problem, and then they're getting rid of it, and they don't have a good reason why they're getting. I mean, my assumption is they're getting rid of it because nobody used it. That's my actual assumption, is that nobody fucking used that, and it was just a resource hog on their end. So that's why they got rid of it, because most people just don't care if their VODs get muted. I think that's actually the answer, is that people either don't play music or they just play one song on repeat or whatever. And I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to do that. I want to have different music pretty consistently so that y'all can hear some different stuff. It would bum me out if I was just playing one song on repeat. Also, you might go away. If you came in and you started hearing this one song and then you heard it a second time play through before I went live, you might be like, hey, I'm going to dip. I'm going to go to somewhere else where someone's talking. I don't know. What else we got going on here? There's a few things we'll chat about tonight. I got some anime and some manga to talk to you about in the second hour. I'll talk a little bit about Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling Summer Sun Princess 23. This was one of their big events here. Watched that on Wrestle Universe. Really fun card, long card for them. 10 matches, 4 titles on the line, 2 from other promotions. The Defy belt was on. I'm down for Lockdown on repeat. I understand, Raven. I hear you. If it's a classic, it's a classic. So there were a bunch of titles on the line. The Defy title was defended. The Eve title was defended. And then the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling International Princess and Princess of Princess Championships were both defended. Some really fun matches. Outside of the title matches, which were fun. Probably my favorite match was... Oh, there's so many good ones. So now Kikuta and Ryo Mizunami, a.k.a. Aniki, you may know from AEW. Aniki fucking rules. She's just awesome. They took on Yuki Kamifuki, or Kamiyu, as she is often known, and Veni. Now, if you don't know Veni, she is an international regarded wrestler, and it works independently in Japan. She is, by most accounts, the first trans woman wrestler in Japan of note. There have probably been others. She is openly trans and out there. She wrestles in Japan as Asuka, all capital letters, which obviously she cannot do on an international stage, but she does in Japan, which I think is very funny. So people call her both Asuka and Veni, depending on who you talk to. That match was very fun. Does that mean you have to yell her name? So Jatsu, generally, all caps in Japanese wrestling parlance is you don't have to yell the name, but it is an attempt to say that this is a statement. Like Mao is a wrestler in Japan, all capital, M-A-O, Mao. Himori Himori is a wrestler in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Her name is all capital letters. It's not to shout, but it's to say, like, it's almost like it's a sentence. It's like a one-word sentence is how I like to look at it, right? Because often it's not two names all in capitals. It's just one name. So it's like a statement. That's kind of the vibe with that. How do these connect? There's another piece that goes in there. How do these things work? What do you want from me? Oh, you go like that? That's weird. Why are you like this? Why are you slightly different color? I'm all confused about this. That match ruled. Should also say, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. They had an event with 2 trans women and 1 non-binary wrestler. And that's fucking cool as hell. It's just cool as hell. It's just not something you see on any card in America. I mean, there are trans wrestlers, and when I say any card, I don't mean like a card like Effie's Big Gay Brunch or an Enjoy show, which is very small. I'm talking about like Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is owned by Cyberfight. They also own Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT. Like, it is a big scale promotion. And to have Miyu Watanabe, who is by all accounts the future of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. She is pretty much the now, but is also she is a year away from holding every belt in that company. To have her face Nyla Rose is just like a statement of intent from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. And it fucking rules, and it's awesome. I mean, there was a match with Aja Kong tagging with Raku. Raku is a wrestler whose gimmick is that she likes trains and naps. And also her sub storyline is that everyone thinks that she's cute and fun, including Aja Kong. Aja Kong is the toughest son of a bitch in wrestling. She is still a mountain and a monster, and she loves Raku, and that is adorable. Meanwhile, Max the Impaler, who is just a Mad Max character, has decided that Palm, a little gremlin, is their favorite for some reason, and that's very fun. Deathstrike says, what did you think of the leg construction? I thought the way the legs went together was really nice. So I think these legs are fantastic. I think the layering was really well done. I think the knee joints bend really well. It's very well put together. I think the way that the legs meet the waist is my least favorite thing in model kit construction, where you have to push a lot. I don't like that. To get these legs in here, you had to push at an angle up, and you had to really push, and now they're locked in, and it's good. But I think the layering is really clever and really enjoyable. But the connection of the legs to the waist, I don't like it when they're and now you got to give it some oomph. I don't want to give plastic oomph. That's how you bend or break plastic. The OO legs have an aftermarket metal part because people keep breaking it. Yes, I do know that there are people, yes, that will go and collect those things. All right, so this goes like this. Anyway, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling Summer Sun Princess was a lovely show. Unfortunately, some of my girls won, and I am grateful to see that. Mahiro got a victory. Always rooting for Mahiro because she's just a nice girl. I mean, Arisu Endo gets a big win there. Juria came back after came back and lost. That's awesome. Because Daisy Monkey, Arso Endo, and Suzume are great. So that was really fun. I mean, I got Hyper Misao and Shoko won their match. That rules. So there was a lot of good, and then of course there was some disappointments. I wanted Maki to win. Maki Ito did not win. That's a real shame. I certainly would have liked to have seen a victory for Maki. The one thing that has eluded her in her career in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is that belt. It would have been lovely if she was able to pick up the Princess of Princess champion. Yuki Aino not winning. I didn't think Yuki was going to win. Rika Tatsumi came in with new ring gear. She has less of a poofy dress now. She's got poofy shorts instead. And I was like, oh, Rika's got new gear. She's not losing tonight. And that's really true. Also, Mizuki and Maki Ito went hard. They really fought. They didn't really fight. They fought very well in an outstanding match. And it was a great title defense. Coming up next for Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is the Princess Cup Tournament, the 10th anniversary, because they celebrated their 10 years this year. So they're coming up to the 10th of that. And it's a 16-woman tournament right now. And a bunch of my favorites are in there. Palm's not in there, which is a real shame because Palm thrives in a tournament format because she's a wild card. But there's a lot of people in there that I'm excited to see. Yuki Ari is in there, and I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not sold on her. She's still an act. It makes sense, right? She's an active idol. She's not a former idol, like Wakana or Maki. She's an actual current idol, so it makes sense to put her in some high-profile stuff. But I don't know. She doesn't. Oops! Oh no! I'm knocking over sprues. I don't know. I'm just not as enthused with Yuki Ari as other people are. Unless they've only done this once, as far as I know. And it's one of the best nonsense things that I've ever seen in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is a place full of nonsense, right? There was a time where there was a 6-woman match, so 3-on-3. And one of the teams was Yuki Ari, Yuki Aino, and Yuki Kamifuku. So you had 3 women, all named Yuki, on the same team. And the crowd knew instantly this is going to be fun. So as they're standing there before the match starts, people in the crowd just start yelling, Yuki! And then all 3 would turn in the direction of the person shouting and like wave or acknowledge. And then someone else would yell, Yuki! And all 3 would turn. And then the crowd was laughing because this is really fucking good. And it's a good bit of business that they have not repeated again. And I'm like, repeat that shit. That's very fucking funny. You got 3 women named Yuki. Fucking milk that laughter. It's very good. Does Dump and her construction girls still show up in Japanese wrestling? I believe Dump. I want to say that Dump is retired. I'm going to look that up. I'm pretty sure that Dump is not in the business, even in a production role. Let me see. Dump Matsumoto. Let's see. Oh, okay. No, Dump is still wrestling. My apologies, friends. Dump is still wrestling as of this year. Devil retired. I know that. Yes. Yeah, Dump Matsumoto is apparently still out there doing things. I mean, Crush Gals came back for like a little bit. Like, so this is a weird thing, right? We were talking about this because so here's the thing about Joshi that's fucked. Every Joshi wrestler that you can think of that was like the most popular in their day were like teenagers or in their early 20s. And then they retire in their late 20s or mid 20s. And then they do other careers and they have other things going on. And then, unfortunately, some of them are in a position where they wrestle again. And not just because they love it, but because they like financially need it. So they come out of retirement in their 40s or 50s for like Aja Kong still works, like still wrestles. Bull Nakano is a famous wrestler, right? Bull Nakano is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Bull Nakano was a professional golfer for longer than she was a wrestler. And then she retired from golfing. She now has a YouTube channel. She does the interview circuit. She interviews wrestlers in Japan and goes to conventions and does that. She won't get in the ring. She's associated with a project that's going to have a show this year that they're starting up. No name yet, but she is apparently associated with a wrestling product as like a spokesperson for it and to work like behind the scenes. But she's done wrestling. But also like she could get back in the business at any time, bulk up a little bit and get to wrestling. But yeah, so it's unfortunate. Like some of them do it for the love of it, right? And some get back into it. But a lot of them are back in just to be like, well, there's money to be made for me being a wrestler. Now, if you talk to Joshi, young Joshi, there's like a generation. There's a couple generations that don't exist for them. Like a lot of Joshi who are now retiring, their favorite wrestlers were like Attitude Era wrestlers in WWE. Because there was an era where there wasn't a lot of big Japanese wrestling. There's always been Japanese wrestling, but like they didn't have those heroes. So their heroes were like American, and there's like a whole like missing generation of Joshi. Because a lot of them just get out of the business. They do it. I mean, there's two girls in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling right now. Haru and Runa, they're both 15. They started one of them started when they were 14. The other one is going to be 16 pretty soon. They could wrestle for 10 years and retire 10 years into the business at the age of 25. And in some instances, people will be telling them a year before that they should retire, which is just wild, but like not inaccurate because like it's 10 years of pro wrestling. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like, of course, she's ageless because she decided to stop aging, but Hyper Misao, like basically like said like I'm 28 and now I'm not aging anymore. She divorced herself from age. She announced that she wasn't actually retiring, that she's married, she's getting married, which you don't do, and that also she's no longer accounting for her age, which is incredible. But Hyper Misao is not a common denominator in Joshi. Wild. She's just displaced in time. She's not a vampire. She's just Hyper Misao got a divorce from the effects of aging and time. So she's just like outside of that. She just lives outside of it. She does not. She agreed. She has decided that it does not exist and cannot affect her. We're gonna panel line this now before we put the connectors on and the other parts here, because this is big. This backpack is huge, and it's gonna take me a long time to panel line it. So yes, Ghost Valve. I love that for her too. Yes, as Destiny says, good for her. Right? It's so good. Also, on this night where there were a lot of really fun matches, Miyu Yamashita versus Sawyer Wreck fucking whipped ass. Oh, that fucking whipped ass. Sawyer Wreck, you won't see her on TV right now. She is a fucking tall, lanky woman with a lovely, sinister smile. She loves deathmatch wrestling and is probably out of her mind and is still fucking awesome. She's so great. I wonder what this would look like with an action base like the fin funnel base for the new. Oh, yeah. It does come with an old school base that I do have set up because you're going to need it because this thing's not going to stand up on its own. The only other thing I will say, my closing thoughts about Tokujoshi Pro Wrestling Summer Sun Princess 2-3 was that I did not listen to Japanese commentary. There was English commentary from Chris Brooks and Balin Aki, which was fantastic. That bass does suck. Yes, it's an old school, not great bass. Aki, you may know as a from doing a lot of commentary for DDT, but also doing commentary for Gato Move, Choco Pro stuff. Really knows his Japanese, can really translate well. Chris Brooks knows Japanese as well, but also just really really knows the product, knows what's up. On the Japanese side, they had their usual announcers. And they also had a guest announcer. They had a guest announcer who is a musician and a voice actress. And she is most commonly known for her role, as being one of the founders of the Jam Project, which is a band made up of voice actors, anime voice actors that cover anime songs, which is very fun. But Rika Matsumoto is best known for Satoshi. Satoshi is Ash Ketchum, the Japanese name for Ash. The voice actress who played Ash in Japan was a guest commentator, and the commonality from wrestlers and announcers and employees alike was, oh, that's cool. Oh, wait, why am I crying right now? Maki shared on her blog that she was she was just like, she was just like, all of a sudden she was crying. There's a photo of the two of them, and she's like, I don't know why. And she's like, oh wait, I watched a lot of Pokemon, and her voice is pretty much Ash's voice. You know, sometimes people do different things. That one's very close to her own speaking voice. So all of a sudden, this woman Ash was just talking to her, and then Maki got choked up. And the announcer for the show, who announces every show, the ring announcer, she had on her waist, like attached to her belt, Ash's hat, and she was just like crying in the ring, like because she was just like so emotionally like thrown by the fact that this cool lady was doing guest commentary on their wrestling show. A few wrestlers got photos with her, and it's very cute. Of course, Nyla Rose got a photo. Are you kidding me? Of course, Nyla got a photo. Come on. Nyla now has photos with two of the many women to voice Ash Ketchum. She also has a photo with the second Ash in America, Sarah Natacheni, which is very fun. Uh, that was a good thing. That was a nice one. I messaged Sarah. We don't talk as much as we used to because we live very different lives. But I knew Sarah before she was Ash, when she was lying about how old she was and hanging out in the comedy scene, which was a weird thing to do, but okay. Don't think too hard about it. But yeah, Sarah, I remember I messaged her and I was just like, hey, Nyla Rose is a really cool wrestler. This person, I include the photo. I was like, and then and Sarah was just like, she's so tall. And I was like, yeah, she is. She's a lot. But yeah, that was cool. That was really neat. And I loved how excited people were about her being there, which is a cool little bit of stunt casting. It was neat. That was a good event. Let's see. In video game news, there's not a lot of video game news because, not a lot came out on the weekend. We'll probably talk about some smaller things like, there's a couple video game things that got announced as, a couple studios working on some stuff. The people that, some of the people that worked on Shadow of Mordor are now at a studio that is gearing up to work on a Black Panther video game, which sounds cool. That's years away though, so don't get too excited about that shit. I think the biggest story is probably that 200 Sega of America employees are going union. It is multidiscipline within Sega of America. The vote, I believe, was, two members, it was 91 to 26, although I should also state for the record that there were a bunch of votes that were challenged and not counted. So it is not that only a little more than half of people voted. Is that apparently some people didn't vote, and then some people's votes were not counted, so the numbers would have been different. But they have voted to unionize the Allied Employees Guild Improving Sega, or AEGIS, are voting to unionize. It was 117 votes were counted. Include more than 200 roles at Sega of America's Irvine, California office, and they're working with the Communication Workers of America. So you got marketing, games as a service, localization, product development, quality assurance. And this is the Irvine office, which opened up in 2022. So it's basically everyone at the Irvine office that is not management. So it is 200 of 235 workers. So it's anyone that is not in the management pipeline at an office. And then you've got now we're going to have a certification comes in, and then we're going to see what happens. Sega did not on their own before the vote. Before the vote was official, Sega could have just honored it and they wouldn't even have to do a vote. Sega chose not to do that. That is a common practice. That is not me talking shit about a company or anything. That is just a common practice, is to say, well, you should vote. We love voting. It's up to the people there to decide, not for us. So that's usually the company line. Nobody with money in that position wants a union. Unbelievably, they do not want one. Because unions are annoying if you want to cut costs and treat people poorly. If you want to treat people like they're lines on a spreadsheet, it is harder. It is not impossible, but it is harder to do if they are a union. Let's see. We got here standard workers across the industry. Yeah. Overjoyed celebrate our union election win as members of AEGIS CWA, which is, again, the Communication Workers of America. The QA and indie studios have been at the lead of these kind of endeavors. There's Tender Claws Human Union is one of the first ones. So these are not the first, but it's happening. Let's see. Yeah, they got some. We'll see. Um, Also, this hasn't. I don't see. I haven't seen this making the rounds as much. There's not a lot to report on, but I will say. I should say this that a former Pokemon Go employee for Niantic, the people that make Pokemon Go, is suing with a alleged culture of gender discrimination and sexism that devalued women. So that is a thing that is coming out there, and that's frustrating, right? Continues to be frustrating and shameful. This is just, we're never going to see this side of it, but I'm going to get a little bit. I'm going to panel line a little bit of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I might on my own time. We're never really going to see this part of it, but it does. I will say this, friends. This gray really pops with the black marker. I think it really does look sharp. So we'll just kind of clean this up here. But I do think this looks great. This would be a perfect piece to use the a kind of pen, the fill pen instead of the regular marker. This would be a great use for the fill pen to just fill those voids. I mean, that side is the one you're going to see from the front. Yes, you like that totally. Yes, you're right. We're going to see parts of it when it's here, so we probably should do like some of the roof. You're totally right, Lashbrook. It is so big that you are going to see parts of it from the front. So there are parts that I should be hitting here, which is why I'm hitting like some of the spots up top. But I'm not going to go too wild with it. But yeah, there are some things to hit here. All right, let's see. Other news to chat about. What do we got here? Stop me if you've heard this before. A video game movie is stuck in post-production hell. Often it's pre-production hell, so this one's a little change of pace. You can see from 3.6 on the top half. Yes, like the clock here, yeah. So we'll see some of this here. So we'll hit a little bit of it. Apparently, the film adaptation of Borderlands 3 to 9. I knew what you meant. I understand. Yeah, I knew what you meant. The Borderlands adaptation, Eli Roth's project. So one of the things people who have no like deep knowledge of an industry of the writing industry will often say, well, this project has 10 writers on it, so it must be troubled. And it's like, no, it's probably just like change directors. Like a lot of often writers, they end up taking their names off of it because the scripts change so much. But the part of the contracts is if you worked on a thing, your name is in there, right? That's why you see a lot of names when a director changes and they throw out the script and move things around. And sometimes it changes so much that people are like, I don't want my name on this. Let's see. But right now, yeah, we've got there's somebody pseudonym on there. But basically, Joe Crombie is not using his name. He is using Craig Mazin. And the reports are that it's a real mess. But like I said, having a lot of writers on there is not necessarily indicative of it being a mess. That generally means that it changed hands, it moved places, that punch up happened, and sometimes punch up writers never get their names in there. Animated films, if there are Patton Oswalt has this bit about it. But Patton Oswalt has made a good living as one of the people out there doing punch up for animated movies. And that kind of punch up is jokes that you get yelled at or dialogue that happens that has no like sound effects as the punchline and not motion because animation is done, right? A lot of times punch up people like that don't ever make the list. But if you've taken a pass at a screenplay, even if someone is now taking your screenplay and editing it, generally you get your name attached. And that is not, in my opinion anyway, a mark of poor quality, but generally a troubled production. And there can still be positive movies out of troubled productions. That is not a death knell. The fact that it's taking so long to make is a problem. Because like I'm reading Kotaku's article here, and there's some like basically there's like why nearly a dozen writers have been brought on to help poke and prod at the movie's script. I have no idea, and it's just like, oh, because that's what happens to movies. Because okay, so here's a valid in the eyes of the movie industry, not to you and me as real normal ass people, but in the guise of the movie industry. It might be as simple as there's a new head of the studio making this movie, and they don't like the script. It could be a fucking great script. Eli Roth could be psyched as hell. This could be Eli's. This is gold and great. New studio head. New studio head isn't going to waste time and get rid of it. Sometimes they just flat out get rid of movies. But in this case, it could be they're just like, I want to have my guys take a pass at it. I have guys that are really funny and they get video games. Or it could be that before Eli Roth was attached, it went through several scripts. And then Eli got attached and went, well, I have people that I like to write things, so I'd like them to work on it. And it went through a bunch of revisions. Now, it could also be complete garbage and a waste of everyone's time. But the idea that it's like, oh, well, it's troubled because so many people worked on it, is like, not necessarily. It could just be like, because it's like, yeah, it's based on their, like this guy, the guy who's basically not putting his name on it, wrote the screenplay for Scary Movie 3 and The Hangover Part 2. So he came in as a comedy guy. They could have taken out the jokes. They could have been like, you know what, we want to make this more gritty. We want it to be ironic laughter, not like ha 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 laughter. It could be that, and he could have just been like, "Well, you took all my jokes out, so I don't want to be credited." You know, that kind of thing. That often does happen when tonally things change, right? That can happen in movies where they're like, actually, we're just gonna go a different direction here, and we've got like some other. We're gonna make this, more of an action thing, less of a comedy, or this actually isn't the kind of comedy we're looking for. We want to go for more slapstick stuff or whatever. There's a number of reasons, but at the end, it still hasn't come out yet. Who knows if it will? Like I said, there's not like a lot of stories here. Today. This was a fun one. I thought this was pretty funny. Basically, like, there was a dev live stream, with the game director of Diablo 4, where he said this: the most important thing for us in Seasons, kind of going off script in a different way, is when you're playing Seasons and you're playing Diablo 4, you're having a great time. And when you've reached all the goals and done all the things you think are really, really important, and you want to go take a break to play something else for a little while, that's fine. We do the same thing. Basically, he went out of his way to say, hey, if you've completed the season, that's not a bad thing. It's not that we didn't give you enough content. You can play other games. This doesn't need to be your forever game. Or We don't have to keep putting out content every week, you weirdos. And I don't think he's wrong on that. And I think that's kind of fucking refreshing. It's like, hey, a way to not be burned out is to fucking relax a little bit. Obviously, there's a FOMO with seasonal content, and you want to get everything, and then people who like the game want to play the game. And I think that everybody understands that. But I do think there's this belief that, like, among some gamers, that, like, if you're not constantly putting things out, like that, somebody told me, is just like, man, Street Fighter 6, like, they really dropped the ball with Street Fighter 6. This is a friend of mine saying this to me. And I was like, thank you, the Theme Fiasco, for the follow. Great username. Appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, somebody I know was saying to me, they were like, oh yeah, Street Fighter 6, they already dropped the ball. And it's just like, what do you mean? It's just like, well, I mean, I've just, like, done everything. I'm like, it's a fighting game. Have you fought everyone? Like, if you're like, and also there's more ROMs coming, more games coming to the arcade part in there. There will be characters that are coming out. They aren't out now. It's just like, how fucking many hours of Street Fighter did you play that you're like done with Street Fighter and annoyed they didn't make more of it for you? It's just like, I don't know about that, buddy. Like, hey, there are some games that come out. Yeah, go win an Evo. Yeah, there you go. Like, there are games that come out, and, like, you wish that there was more to the game, and I think that's totally reasonable to feel that way. But, like, I don't know about Street Fighter 6 thinking there's not enough content in a fucking fighting game. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. All right, the backpack is in. Look at this big old backpack. Look at this big, massive a backpack here. Top heavy goddamn thing. Look at this goddamn kit. We're not even done with it. I just want to put it on. We still have to put on all the funnel parts. Yes, it's always okay to take a break from a game. Yeah, I guess, like, people are used to game as services, like the grind of it, like, oh, when's the next thing? What's coming out? And it's also like there is, like I said, there is stuff coming out. Oh yeah, there was a so we're talking about burnout from live services. So Destiny 2 community kind of have there was a quote from a Polygon writer about the Destiny 2 stuff where people were like, oh, well, a season just ended and when's the next one and all that. And should I take a break before the new expansion comes out? Or should I play the stuff I don't really care about? And Ryan Gillum from Polygon was just like, just quit. Just do something you enjoy. No one's making you play it. If you're having a bad time, you don't have to. It's not that really the top heavy. Yeah, it isn't that top heavy. You can get it posing, but I'm just gonna lay it down. I'll lay this down. But I did think that was pretty funny to just be like, no, you don't. Nobody's fucking making you do this. You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't want to play the video game. Don't play the video game, or take a break if you want to take a break. Like, yeah, grind yourself into dust. I mean, that is also an option. I don't know. Like, so there are in Hearthstone, right? There are dailies and weeklies, right? I've never missed out on a weekly. I always finish within the week. I used to finish my weeklies on Monday. I would get 3 weeklies and a daily on Monday. I would finish all 3. And then also, obviously, finish my daily, but finish the weeklies. And then eventually I was like, well, why? Why am I doing that? Today I finished 1 out of 3. and I am normal play throughout the next couple days. I will finish the other two, and I was like, why do I care? Like, why am I going to grind trying to get those 5 wins in one day? Why am I going to grind trying to use my hero power 50 times? Why am I going to grind trying to spend 500 mana in one day? They're weekly. They're not going anywhere, and I'm not going to miss out on them. There's no reason. And this took me a very long time to get myself to believe that I could just be like, fucking, I'll get that done. You know, I might get that done tomorrow during Jeff's podcast, you know, like, or it might be some other, you know, like on Wednesday, I might find myself with some time and want to do that. But I certainly shouldn't feel like I have to make myself complete my weeklies in one day. That's nonsense. But that was a mindset that I had to work to figure out for myself. That's such a scary thing that they go to that thinking right away. Games have been such a grind that they don't know what winning is. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Is that, like, you know, because sometimes people were like, well, it's a 4-hour game. And it's like, yeah, is it good? Like, I understand if it was like $60. Like, no, they're not going to buy a 4-hour game for $60. But if it's like a $10 4-hour experience and it's just like a fucking cool time, like, that sounds pretty fucking great. That's cheaper than a movie. You know, like, I don't know. That's how I felt about, like, indie stuff. Like, interesting boutique experiences. I'm much more interested in that. You know, I think that's a cool thing. All right, so it's this one. These are similar to the sides. And it goes like that. Right? Okay, so the poke's there. It's the poke side there. All right, okay. We've been talking for a while here. We're gonna take a pause for the cause here. I'll pop this one in here. I didn't realize it was after 10. Time got away from me. Talking so much about wrestling and stuff. So this is the time in the stream where I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. Everything I'm about to talk about here is optional. You don't have to do any of this stuff, but I would love it if you could, if you wanted to. So again, all optional. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel and what I do here. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber to the Baer Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Let the people know you are a subscriber. That is the easiest way to support me here because you're already on Twitch. You know, $5 a month. Or if you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch, you have that Prime gaming token. You can use it for anyone. Why not use it for me? You got to renew that yourself every month. And so you could do that. You could gift a sub into the community if you want to help somebody else, if you're already a subscriber, or if you just don't plan on doing that, but you like to have other people get some cool emotes and not have to see ads. You could gift a sub like Bobby Dice Roller. Bobby Dice Roller gifted 10 subs this month, which is wild and lovely. So that's and also bits and coins always appreciated. Those are, you know, you don't have to do that, but you can do that. There are other ways to support me financially. These are all financial. You being here is a lot. So don't make it seem, I don't want to make it seem like I don't appreciate y'all watching and hanging out and chatting. But also, I got a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer. Over on my Patreon, there is, $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards from different tiers. I'm going to go quickly check out my Patreon just for a second. I want to see my $3, $5, and $10 patrons voted on what I should be doing tomorrow. And they voted for Mars First Logistics. So that is the game I'll be playing tomorrow on my bonus stream. Again, the $3, $5, and $10 voted that because the second Tuesday of every month is Patreon choice. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. There is subscribing to that is free, obviously, but if you want to become a member, you can go over to YouTube and get in on membership. That's $2 a month. You get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So you'll get tomorrow the video that other people will have to wait till Wednesday to see. So there's a little something there. Let's see, what else? Those are all monthly ways to support me. There's also direct donations. If you just feel like throwing a couple bucks your friend Pat's way on occasion, you can do that. And that's through Coffee and PayPal and Stream Elements. And everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, and through Twitch goes into a fund, and I buy model kits and Lego sets with that fund. I've got a backlog right now. It's growing a little bit because I've been working on this kit. This kit was purchased by John. Thank you very much, John. This was bought off my Amazon wish list, which is so kind. There's a bunch of stuff on my Amazon wish list, and I have a few more things in my backlog. A Lego set and a model kit that I'll be working on soon. If you want something to join the backlog that is from the wish list, you can buy something there because it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing I build. I got my Amazon wish list has all kinds of stuff: Lego sets, model kits, all kinds of different things. Inexpensive kits, expensive kits. Well, there are a couple of new additions I put in there. There's a few things that are new that made the list there. I try to keep things in price order here and there. But I got a bunch of different stuff that I will be happy to build. Oh yeah, I put the Zaku 1 Sniper. That's a recent addition to the wish list. That thing is fun because it's the old Zaku with a big gun. I just think that's a great kit. But yeah, I got a bunch of stuff in there that I would be happy to build in the future, and you can see inexpensive stuff all the way up to incredibly pricey. No one's ever going to buy the Tall Geese Fugal Endless Waltz for me to build. It's fine that they don't. It's nice having some expensive stuff there. That the Fugal is going to be a thing that I buy like next year with my Amazon gift card that I get at Christmas. Like that's going to win the poll of the viewer poll of what I should build next, where I put up expensive items, and that is probably going to win because I do that every year. So that's mostly just there in case someone else wants to buy it. Most likely, it won't. Big gun, big fun. Indeed, I do like a kit with a big weapon. I am a fan of that. Let's see what else we got. My alternative to that is I have a Throne wish list. Again, if you buy something from Throne, I make a dedicated video for my YouTube channel, and it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing that I build. I get through all of the stuff that I need to build, and then I go back to the stuff that I've purchased. And then also you go to USA Gundam store and buy a gift card. Dustin bought the next kit that I will be building, which is from USA Gundam store. Gift card there is a nice grunt from Witcher Mercury. Zort. I'm excited to build that. If you want to support me and not spend any money, I have a Discord. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post stuff they're working on. My Discord is chock full of lovely people. It's a good time over there. A couple of video links to check out before we get to building. Pat Baer's Anime Club. If you missed my live stream of this, which was 2 Tuesdays ago, this was the video that I shot for that. It's the 100th episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. It is me talking about the spring season that just ended and the summer season that just started. So it's a review/preview of the seasons. Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series. I'll have a new episode up this Wednesday, but this one is last week's. That's where I write a character piece, rehearse it several times, and then perform it. This character piece is a guy named Randy for Randy's Soapbox, and it's he's a guy that has a lot of opinions, and they're not what you would expect for comedic effect. It makes it sound terrible. I'm going to drink some water, and then we are going to build a model kit. That's kind of like, that's where we're at here. So I'm going to drink a little water. We're going to keep working on this model kit. I'm going to talk about some anime, and then I'll talk about some manga. So let's get that ready. And then, okay, I need to do that. And then I got to do this. We'll do that. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the button, and we'll dramatically transition to the overhead. Keep working on this kit. And I'm going to drink a little water right now. I hit the button again. I hit the button again, everybody. I hit the wrong button. We're going to transition again. That didn't work. That was weird. All right, great. Lord Crashing wants to dance button. Is the big gun the one from Zeta? I believe that is the big gun. Yes. Lord Crashing wants me to hit the dance button. So thank you for your channel points for that. So let's get into that before we get into some anime talk. Oh yeah. Excellent use of channel points. This one is, I would describe this as pretty funky. Yeah, some channel points. All right, I'm going to panel line this. We got to get into some anime talk, friends. I watched 2 shows. The debut of a new show called Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. And if you're like, Pat, that does not sound like an anime for you. I don't believe, like, the last show that you watched that involved zombies, they were idols. And you're damn right. But no, I'm checking out Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. When I tell you that this first episode did not have a lot of zombies in it for quite some time, well, they did. But they were different kinds of zombies. They were the human kind of zombie, the not bitten or disease or zombie apocalypse zombies. They were just worker drones. That's right. We start with our boy Akira. Akira is hired by a production department 3 years ago, and things are going well. There's a girl there named Sayori who's fucking cute and hot and nice to him, and he's just like, hell yeah, things are looking up. And he goes out drinking on after his first shift with some employees, and like their personalities kind of shift at one point, and it's weird. And everything's really dreary and monochrome. And he kind of lives in filth, and he doesn't really take care of himself. And Sayori is having an affair with the department chief. And, you know, so even if he was never going to work on, if he's never going to ask her out, like that did, the crush existing did kind of keep him going. And he's not going to have that anymore. And he wonders if he should just quit, but he doesn't have the time. He's worked so hard, worked so much, he doesn't have time to, you know, apply for another job. And he doesn't want to leave the team in the lurch. He doesn't want to just quit and leave them in the lurch, because, like, then they would have to pick up the slack for him. He doesn't want to do that. And he even contemplates suicide. He considers it. And then he wakes up early before work. It looks like he forgot to pay for his bike's rental, like his parking space for his bike. So he goes over to talk to the department manager, and the department manager is a zombie. And there are a lot of zombies. And when the zombies show up, a thing happens. Things get colorful as the sad, kind of fucked up, if you really think about it, realization for Akira is, oh, I don't have to go to work anymore because there's an apocalypse. And that's fucked. It's a really fucked thing that this, like, devastation is happening, and he's like, and he wants to survive, you know, he has the will to live. And finding Sayori is important, because even if she will never be interested in him, he does feel like a little bit of closure is necessary. The color palette changes and becomes more vibrant. He's like, all right, well, Satori, I'd rather, you know, be eaten by zombies instead of just, like, never telling her. He goes over to her place. Of course, the boss was there. He's a zombie. And he quits. And then he uses his rugby skills, because apparently he played rugby, to tackle the guy off the window, killing his boss, who is a zombie. And then Satori's also becoming a zombie. So he confesses and then finds a place to hide. And at the end, he gets a Sharpie and a notebook. And he's turning his notebook into a 100-point bucket list. Because it's Zom 100, bucket list of the dead. So his goal is to do 100 things in this post-apocalypse. Or this zombie apocalypse, I should say. And it's, again, it's a weird zombie show, and that's more my style. I don't want to watch a just horny zombie series or a bleak, desolate zombie series. That's not necessarily my bag. Zom 100 is just like, I don't know, kind of fucking fun about it. And who knows, right? Like, will he be cavalier in the face of this as things go on? If he loses people that he's, other survivors that he's come in contact with, if things from his bucket list he can't achieve because of the zombies, like, will it be good vibes only for the rest of it? And the answer is like, oh, probably fucking not. Like, one would assume that he won't just be having a good old time every time. But it's an interesting start, and I thought it was like a really solid first episode. I am interested to see where this goes from here. It has my attention, and I am interested in checking it out. More of it. So that's Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. It's on Crunchyroll. I think it's good. I think it's worth your time. So I would recommend it if you're looking to pick up a show this season, like a Sunday show. And then the other show I want to talk about is Sweet Reincarnation, which apparently it aired back to back. Like the first 2 episodes aired last week. So now I'm an episode behind, and I think that's okay. I might end up catching up. So I watched episode 2 for today. So episode 3 is out there, and I could watch it if I wanted to. But I think, I don't know. I think I'll stay behind an episode. Maybe I'll get caught up, but I don't know. I'm not saying I have to. But this episode was mostly action. If you missed it, Sweet Reincarnation is what it sounds like. It's a world-class chef died, and then got reincarnated as a young man named Pastry. That's right. His full name is Pastry Casserole, and he's like, awesome. I still have my knowledge. I'm going to I can now revolutionize food in this world because there's magic and it's a fantasy world, and that's cool. But he's also like the only heir. And he's going to be a noble, and there's shit that's going down. Like, things are going to fucking happen. This episode, I'll say this. This is not an anime about pastries. I believe this is an action isekai about a dude who just wants to fucking make pastries, and the world says, no, you've got other shit to do. Because he's got, like, some skills and some blessings. And there's one that we find out in this episode, which we didn't know about previously, but now we do know what the fucking deal is with that. Anyway, bandits are coming to the town, the village, and they're prepping for that. So Casserole decides, like, we're gonna do a trap. We got a plan. We are going to harvest all of the crops. And we're going to block all the water sources because we're going to corral all the bandits into like one area. Basically gathers all the villagers and the crops because he knows there's going to be a battle and he wants to reduce the collateral damage. It's like it's a solid plan. And the bandits show up looking for crops, and Pastry's a child still, and he's like, all right, I'm going to have to think of a plan because I'm not going to be able to create desserts if I die here. Like, that's his big just motivation is I can't die here. I have pastries to make. Um, so it turns out that the bandits are ex-cavalry who deserted from the army, making them even more dangerous because they're trained. Uh, and also they apparently broke out a bunch of prisoners. They took a bunch of prisoners. They didn't break them out. They took a bunch of hostages in the front to use them as like meat shields, basically, which is fucked. But they lure them in to the village, and then the pastry has employed the services of a bunch of drop that. Has employed the services of a bunch of village children to throw slingshots and basically like flaming arrows at the bandits. Some villagers do die, and then Pastry ends up getting captured to take it hostage, which is actually the trap. You thought like, oh, was the slingshots and like disturbing them to kind of seed some chaos? No. Pastry getting kidnapped was the plan, because one of Pastry's skills is a copying skill, which he originally thought he could like copy recipes or copy food and then be able to recreate it. Well, he uses it creatively. One of the bandits has a burns on his face from the fire arrows, and he copies the fire face and puts it onto all, and he basically copy pastes fire, like burning face, to all of the bandits, and then they all like get crippled in pain because suddenly they go from not being burned in the face to burned in the face, which ends the battle. Victory for Pastry Casserole. So yeah, if you thought this was going to be a fun slice of life isekai about a dude who's like revolutionizing the world of pastries and food in a fantasy world, and living out his dreams because he couldn't complete, because he died too young. He died from a accident as a pastry chef. No, my thinking is this is a show that is just an action series about a dude who is doing his best to, he wants to be a chef, but he's going to just get caught up in a bunch of other shit. That's what it feels like. I'll say this. I don't fucking hate it. As always, I'm watching a bunch of isekai this season. I think this one's pretty damn good. There's some that I'm not watching. Like, there's some shows that I'm not interested in. I watched the first episode of of something and I was like, eh. But I am watching currently. Oh boy, I am watching 4 isekai. Reborn is a Vending Machine, Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, Great Cleric, and Sweet Reincarnation. And I think that, Reborn is a Vending Machine is the best one of the season because it's just utter lovable nonsense. There's only been 1 episode so far, but I'm already like, yeah, it's one of my favorite shows this season, and not just because I'm a weirdo. That is my caveat. It is not just because I like weird shit. It is good. And also, this season is not that strong. This is a weak-ass season. I think last season was fucking fantastic, and I also think the winter season was strong. But I just think this one is on the weak side of shit. All right, so I'm gonna try to get this backpack done. We've got time left in the stream, so we can get this backpack done. Not just trying, we're doing. Let me tell you about a manga that I've been reading. I've read a lot of volumes of this manga. It's called Reincarnated. It's an 8-year-old apostle of the gods. This one of those, right? It tells you what it is, right? This dude is, I've read multiple volumes, and this dude is still 8 because things happen very fast in this thing. Explanation. things start really fast and then just get paced weirdly. Uh, so, our main dude, our main man. Oh, by the way, this is not an isekai. It's a reincarnation story, but it's not an isekai. He did not come from Earth, as far as I know. This guy was like the great sage. He was just kicking ass, right? He's like so strong and smart, and people really like respected him and loved him. And he knew what he needed to do, which was his goal was to defeat the Calamity Beast. Had to defeat the Calamity Beast, and he raised, in some instances, he raised from birth a dwarf, an elf, a human, and a dragon man. Raised them from birth. Built a party around them with him as kind of the lead. They defeated the Calamity Beast, and he died. And then he met one of the gods, the human god, because there are gods for each race, and also there's God. There's like a sword god, but there's like the human god is just like the commoner god basically. But there's a bunch of different gods, and she's just like, thank you so much. You've managed to delay the divine beast. No, the divine beast. Calamity beast. Divine beasts are a thing in the show, and in the book, and I keep saying that. And he's like, wait, I didn't defeat it? It's like, no. But you did put it in slumber for a long time, which is great. So what I'm proposing, she says, is why don't you hang out here for a while and train with all of the gods, and then we'll reincarnate you as like a distant descendant of yours, so you keep your own bloodline, and then you can be ready for the resurrection of the evil god. And he's like, okay. And we don't see any of the training. We occasionally get references to the training, but we don't see any of the training. The next time we see him, he is an 8-year-old, and he gets his memories back, and he goes to he's got a younger sister, and a big dog, like a big wolf dog, that seems very smart and that like he can kind of like understand, has understanding with. And then he goes to a special school that is being run by the people that he, even the human, for some ability, we don't really know how, he's still alive. Everyone that was his underling is still alive, and they created a foundation that's stronger than any government, and they've been raising the next generations of heroes and doing all kinds of shit. There's a cult out there that's trying to resurrect they're trying real hard to resurrect and be ready for the coming of the Calamity Beast. Anyway, he pretty much instantly meets fun, cool ladies around his age that he starts to party with. He saves one of them. One of them is there to protect him, but then finds out he's way stronger than her. One of them they help out, and then they become friends. The best one is the mage. She's like the third princess of another country, so she's not in line for the throne. But because she was raised as a princess and then allowed to go to the school, she's never had friends before. So she recognizes the dude that saved her life, and she's just like, hey, I want to thank you so much, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, cool. I'm glad I have a friend at school. And she's just like, what? And he's like, oh, shit, did I overstep? I just thought, we're both here and we're the same age. We could be friends. And she's just like, well, no, it's just that, like, I've never had that. I'm so excited about it. And that's like her being nice is a character trait, but her main character trait is being really psyched about friendship and having friends. She's just like, well, we've got to go help her and her village. We're friends. Because there's a cat girl, and they got to go help the cat girl's village. Along the way, we realize that the dog is a divine beast from the dog god. At this point where I've stopped reading, there is a divine there's a divine dog, a divine dragon, a divine slime. It's very cute. The slime is very good. And a little girl that's kind of like a fairy. She's like the representative of part of the human god, so they can communicate. And oh, there's a goat too. I apologize, friends. I forgot. There's a very good goat that shows up. It's a real kick-ass goat that hangs out. And it's the thing is, like, look, there's a cult, there's a divine beast. He was trained. He's been, but most of this manga, almost all of this manga, is just like the girls getting training to be stronger. Like, I think I'm at the point now where they're gonna get attacked again by the cult, the evil cult that they've defeated on like 2 occasions very easily. Like, eventually they're gonna be moving again, but like they've been very slow to move because at one point they wanted to kill the princess, and I think they wanted to kill her because she was like a disciple of, one of the many disciples of the dragon guy. So they were like, oh, well, we got to kill her. I think that's why they wanted to kill her. Whoops. I'm dropping stuff. Pardon me. But there's a lot of action, but there's like a bunch of chapters that are just dedicated to trying to get, like, this is a good example of what this series is about. There's a long segment of this where they are fighting dragons because they want to get the beard of an old dragon, which is the best possible ingredient to make a bow, or the string for a bow. And it's like 8 or 9 chapters of dragon fighting to get this beard. And that's what's going on with this thing. It's just like a lot of bullshit that is fine. It's fine. I don't think there'll be a manga or an anime adaptation because I don't think enough happens in it. I think it is a perfectly okay story. I think it is like a fine thing. I would not say you got to run out and read it. It doesn't come with my highest recommendation, but it's Manga Monday, and I want to talk about a manga, and the manga I have chosen to talk about is that one. Again, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But it's fun. It is a perfectly fine thing to read. You could do worse. Just, that's my ringing endorsement for Reincarnated as an 8-year-old apostle of the gods. I'm in volume 5 right now, I think. Maybe even 6, I don't know. It is an easy read, I will say that. It's an easy read. I got a deal on it, and it's an easy read. And that's going to do it for my anime and manga talk in the second hour. I am going to panel line these, and then we can assemble it, and then we will be all but done. I mean, we'll have to build the weapons here. Our shield that is also the beam saber shield. And then we'll also have to build the gun. And we'll finally get to use another sticker because we've only used like 2 stickers at this point. Which is weird. But yeah. We got, there's 2 stickers here. I actually don't know where this one goes. That's weird. I actually don't know where sticker 5. Sticker 4 is on this. I don't know what sticker 5 is for. Like in the shield? Weird. That goes on that. Oh yeah, 5 goes on the shield. Okay, the shield weapon. That's fun. So we'll panel line this. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you. What are you playing right now? What are you watching? What are you into? What's got you going? What are you excited about? You going to the movies? You watching anything? You reading anything? Let me know. I want to hear from you. For me, same old, friends. You know me. I'm playing Hearthstone every day, as I said. Um, I'm I'm playing Diablo 4 every couple days. I played for a bit yesterday. That was fun. I finished the SpongeBob DLC for Power Wash Simulator. That's a good DLC that I enjoyed. Uh, if you've enjoyed Power Wash Simulator and you want more of it, there's some free stuff coming this summer. But also maybe that was enough to get you going. I think the art style was really fun. I think the last stage has too much shit to wash. But that's often the case, in my opinion, of some of the later stages in Power Simulator where they're just like too massive and you spend too much time on a stage. That's kind of how I felt with that. Doodle says, well, I finished going over the new season's anime and I'm left with 5 shows I'll keep watching for at least 2 more episodes. Nice, Doodles. I mean, technically, there's one more show. There's 2 more shows coming out on Wednesday, right? Or maybe one's on. There's a show tomorrow and a show on Wednesday that I'll be trying. New shows. Helk. I'm going to try Helk. That is the tournament to figure out who the new Demon Lord is going to be, and the front runner is the hero that defeated the last Demon Lord. So I kind of want to give that a try. And then on Wednesday, there's Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, which is a like a chill slice of life about like a nun who's a little out there or a little loopy, and I don't know. That seemed like it might be fun, so I'm going to try that out. I don't know if I'll stick with any of those. Ghostfowl says, new glasses came in. Hell yeah. Also just finished the main Power Wash campaign. Will likely move on to the DLCs. Nice. Enjoy them. Yeah. I mean, like, the Tomb Raider one, I think is just really fun. And I think if you like Final Fantasy, but also, even if you don't really gel with Final Fantasy, the mechs that you're washing, like the robots you're washing, are pretty fucking rad. So I think you'll enjoy those free DLCs. And then the SpongeBob one, I think is pretty great. There's a vehicle in the SpongeBob one that I won't spoil that is just fucking excellent and cool, and I bet fucking sucked to have to program. Aristofan says, still playing Final Fantasy 16, epic length game. Well, yeah, it seems like you're really going at it. You just started a new Immortal. No Clip put out a doc about Immortality, the video game making of, which is great if you play the game. I also played through Pikmin 4 demo. I liked it more than I thought I would. Oh yeah, I've heard good things about that demo. I don't have a Switch, so I will not be playing that game. But yeah, I've heard good things about the demo. Yeah, I haven't watched that documentary. I have a weird. I'm not gonna get into it, but I have Sam Barlow. I have like mixed thoughts about Sam. I have complicated feelings on Sam Barlow joints. So I have not checked out the documentary, but I probably will. I didn't play Immortality, and I don't expect that I ever will, but I could check out that documentary at some point. But yeah, complicated feelings about the man. But yeah, if anybody else is playing or doing anything, let me know. Tomorrow, the video game that I will be checking out, of course, is Mars First Logistics, which for whatever reason is a name that I cannot remember. But it's a game in early access. I fell in love with it watching Jeff Gerstmann play it. It is a transport game on Mars where you are building simple machines in order to transport goods, and transporting stuff and doing side jobs gets you more money to buy more parts, to design more things. I am looking forward to that. That should be very fun and weird. And it's got a art style very reminiscent of Mobius. You may, as you look at it, say like, oh, this reminds me of Sable, which also is a style ape from Mobius. So, but that looks like a very cool art style. And also the building, when you're building, kind of looks like a Lego instruction booklet. And then if you're driving a long distance and it knows you're going to be driving for a while, or it feels like you're going to drive for a while, cool fucking music plays. So it's got a lot of vibes that I'm really psyched about. And I kind of fucking can't wait to check it out. Mars First Logistics. I played a little bit of it, but we'll really dive in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. So I'm excited for that. Let's see. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is going to have a tournament, the Princess of Princess tournament, or the Princess tournament. It's starting this weekend, so I'll have a bunch of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling shows to watch. I think they're doing a, I believe, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show this week. So I'll be able to watch I'm going to put those up, watch with some friends, and of course, General Wrestling. This Wednesday on Dynamite, we're going to find out. We'll finally fucking find out who the fifth man in either side of the blood and guts match is going to be. And my feeling is that it's going to be, they're going to announce it as one person, but it's really going to be Chris Jericho on one side. And then I'm hoping that it is Kota Ibushi. I really would love it to be Kota. I'm afraid they're going to save Kota for All In. But if they don't, if they actually do it for just like a fucking random ass show, the Blood and Guts thing, that would be unbelievably cool. I would love it for that to happen. Who knows? And then also Nick Wayne is going to have his debut on TV for AEW, and he's going to face Swerve Strickland. And that they've had some great matches on the indies, so that'll be awesome to see. Lord Christian says, finished up the Fox run of Futurama, then the movie season. The season that was the movie, yeah. I wish they had just had the movie versions instead of the cut-up episodes with the way they're not good at standalone episodes. Yeah, it's just a 2-hour... yes, the idea of chopping it up to make it episodes doesn't quite work right that because they weren't written to be episodes. Then I started the first season of the Comedy Central seasons, which is pretty good so far, touching on evergreen topics like gay marriage and social media smartphones. Yep. I am not super familiar with the later Futurama. Like, I liked Futurama a lot, but I didn't love Futurama. And then there was a point where I wasn't really watching TV at all, so I missed a bunch of episodes, and then I kind of came back to it. You're very soon going to have surpassed my knowledge of Futurama. All right, we are now done with the backpack. This kit is all but complete. All we have left to do with this kit is the gun and the shield that also has the beam saber shield. We will complete that on Thursday. That'll be the next build stream because we do have a stream tomorrow. We have a video game stream tomorrow, and we will do some building because we're gonna play Mars First Logistics. So we will get some building in. It's just that building will be not a model kit in front of me, in front of my face. Oh, and then also we'll on Thursday stream we'll put on the clear parts to have these kind of spring out. But we can do a photo like this, which is fun. Have these stick out. This is neat. Yeah, that's gonna do it for tonight's stream. Lord Crash says jumping back in Diablo 4 a bit and went down to World Tier 1 to get past a 3-wave fight that my druid couldn't get past before using a guide to make some changes for a better build for the next bit of time in the game. Yeah, I mean, look, do I think it sucks if you end up needing to use a guide? Yeah, I kind of think it sucks. Is there any shame in it? Fuck no. Do what you need to do. Sometimes it's just not going to work out the way you would like it to. And you can make it work by going for whatever. Doodle says thank you. I say thank you. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We're going to go find somebody doing some cool stuff out there and go give them a little bit of love and attention. We'll go find somebody doing something that we want to go hang out with. So let's go see who's streaming. It's Monday. I don't believe that Mary is streaming. I'm going to go ahead and guess she's not because she has been traveling. What with things happening in Paris. Yeah, so she's not streaming. Let's see. Who is doing stuff? I think they're finishing up. Well, we did. I think Mary's still recovering. Yes, one would assume. Well, we rated her on Saturday, but that doesn't mean we can't rate her tonight because Xandra is streaming again. Xandra's doing more night streams, which is lovely. So we're going to go hang out with her as she plays Dungeon Drafters, which I don't think I know anything about. So we'll go give her a raid. Feel free to come along on this raid. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I got to get this set up. Once again, tomorrow, Mars First Logistics is going to be a really good time. I genuinely think you're going to really love it. The vibes are fucking good. Go to Jeff Gerson's YouTube and watch his stream of it from a while back, a week and a half ago. I think you'll be into it. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Thanks for coming on this raid. I'll see you again in the future. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.